Film Rage presents Verbal Masturbation with Bryce and Jim.
This episode of Film Rage was recorded on site at the Calgary International Film Festival. Now in its 22nd year, SIFF brings the best of Alberta, Canadian, and world cinema to Calgary each fall. Sign up for the SIFF newsletter at siffcalgary.ca/newsletter or follow at SIFF Calgary on all platforms to be sure you don't miss out on any of exciting upcoming events.
Film Rage presents Verbal Masturbation with Bryce, Jim, and Murray. This week's Verbal Masturbation session is with the director of The Sadness, Rob Jabbaz. How's it going, Rob?
Howdy, I'm here. Nice to be here in lovely Calgary, Alberta.
Yes.
Calgary, Alberta, Canada.
Canada.
Right. So, in our verbal masturbation sessions, we like to play a little bit of a game with our guests just to loosen them up a bit.
Do we all like stand in a circle and jerk off on a piece of toast, and then the last guy to come like eats the toast?
Yes.
Okay.
But we usually finish with that. You can't start with that, Rob, because there's nowhere coming back from that.
All right.
Once we've all seen the toast.
I'm a little bit like taken aback by the title of this podcast. I mean, that's pretty in your face, right?
Isn't it?
Right off the bat, you know.
You now get a little picture of who we are as people.
We're in the Thunderdome.
We are. Are we going to sing this now again?
No, we're not.
Damn it!
Copyright.
Okay, so we play this game called Or. It's literally the simplest game you can play. I'm going to ask you questions, and you're going to answer one or the other.
Go on.
So, Dawn of the Dead, 2004 or 1978?
I have to just say it without any explanation.
Yes, it's just an or.
Okay.
But you can explain it. Sure, why not? We're interviewing you. You can do whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah, I guess I like the newer one better because I like the opening.
All right. Not bad. Killed by your husband, or tried to. Anyway, it's good. Good choice.
No, I mean like the Johnny Cash thing.
Oh,
Yes.
right. The music.
Like that I think is just better than like the whole 1978 Dawn of the Dead. That's a good movie and everything, but it is kind of a snooze by today's standards. You know, I have reverence for the classics, but at the end of the day, you know, you go back to certain things more than other things, right? And I go back to that intro. I don't even watch the whole movie. I just watch that intro.
And the extra. Is it extra?
Extra's that one with the alien that comes out of that lady's vagina.
Yes.
That is. Exactly. Okay. Metro Taipei or TTC?
Oh, Metro Taipei all day.
All right.
It's called the MRT actually.
Okay. They don't tell you that on Mr. Google sometimes. Fried taro balls or poutine?
Poutine.
Okay. Now, how are fried taro balls, by the way?
Trash.
Oh, right. It's like 3 a.m. drunk at the bar.
Like
you
you
get
don't.
taro
No one
balls.
eats that stuff. Like you eat that at the night market. Then you eat it just to kind of kill time. Like there's this whole culture of just walking and eating stuff just to as activity. It's essentially just killing time.
Nice. Sounds fun.
Yeah, it's all right.
Montreal Canadiens or the Rakuten Monkeys?
Oh, well, I mean, obviously the Rakuten Monkeys. Who the fuck are they?
I believe he's a Leafs fan, if I had to guess.
The Rakuten Monkeys
What?
are,
You don't know?
are our professional baseball team
Yeah.
in Taiwan.
Okay, cool. I had no idea. That's a pretty rad.
But isn't that the greatest name?
Yeah. I mean, Rakuten. It's pretty awesome. And being like just as your logo, like a monkey. I'm imagining like a monkey with like the what do you call that? Like the organ grinder monkey.
Yes.
You know?
Oh, that's the pop out of the box monkey.
Oh, yeah. Hold on. It's I'm thinking of the monkey with the cymbals.
Yeah, okay, that dude.
Organ grinder. The human winds the thing, and the monkey just kind of
Yes.
capers around.
I feel like that most days when I'm just clapping my hands.
All right.
Lucio Fulci or Mario Bava?
Lucio Fulci.
Okay, good answer. Good answer. And lastly, you should be nice and warmed up by now. Row or row? So row as in fish row or row as in the boat?
What? Like, I mean, if I need to go somewhere, then row as in the boat. But if I'm hungry, then row the fish.
So
eggs.
which would you prefer? It's an or question.
Right now?
Yes.
Probably, I'd like to be in a boat right now, I guess.
Okay, there you go. It's hard to find in this city.
Paddling away from this fucking podcast.
No kidding, eh?
Good start.
How is this even a
Nice.
podcast?
Nice.
All right, we'll get down to some questions now, but we're going to open with, so your movie's basically a bunch of action sequences tied together by a little bit of narrative.
Yep, that's fair.
It kind of brings me back to one time I went to a screening of Midnight Meat Train, and Ryuhei Kitamura was actually asked about this one scene where Vinnie Jones is like slicing warts off his neck and throwing them in a jar.
Uh-huh.
He was asked, like, what was the point of that? And he said, well, it looked cool.
Oh, yeah.
And I got a vibe of a lot of stuff kind of just looked cool in this.
Yeah.
And was it mostly visual, less with the narrative when you were thinking of all this, or?
Well, I've said this before, like in other interviews and stuff, but the inspiration was Pee-wee's Big Adventure for the structure of the film.
Right.
Because the way that works is like you introduce Pee-wee and you get to kind of know who he is through his breakfast machine. And then, he's this wacky guy. And then the plot gets sort of set off by him losing his bike. And then after that, it's just sort of, Pee-wee's at the truck stop and he does some stuff. Okay, he's out of the truck stop. Okay, Pee-wee's in a cab of a truck. Okay, he's out of there. Okay, he's in the Alamo. Okay, now he's at Universal Studios, and so it's just kind of like moving your character to a different location, and then sort of having a little vignette, and then moving on, but then having it all tie together with the plot of the bike. And then in my film, there's two Pee-wees. There's the female Pee-wee and the male Pee-wee. So I guess that's kind of where I'm coming at it with it. That's. You have to understand too that I'm making a film like not in my native language, so you have to kind of hedge your bets, and that just seemed like the most, how do you say that? Like the most come on, the most like possible way for me to like succeed that's what I'm trying to say.
Cool.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of one of those things. While in Taipei, do Taipei?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what else are you gonna do?
Yeah. Well, other than eat taro balls, I
was
guess.
gonna make that joke too. Just now, you beat me to it.
Oh, dude, I'm sorry. I won't steal your thunder
No, it's
again.
okay.
I promise. Especially if I keep, like baseball, like the orangutan monkeys.
Mm-hmm.
I'll let you knock it out of the park.
Thanks.
Okay, so I was a little disappointed because I heard that this film would actually have some violence in it.
Uh-huh.
So I'm kind of kidding. There was a lot of violence actually in this.
Yeah.
So I also know from being at the Q&A last night that you are a super big film geek. So do you think that Danny Boyle would be jealous of this film because it's the film that he probably wanted to make but had too much restraint?
I don't think so at all. I think that, I think that 28 Days Later is really mostly about that third act. It's mostly about like that whole thing of like, look what we've become, and that actually tends to be kind of what the story is for a lot of like these sort of global event movies, like the monsters that we become or whatever. So he had his own thing to say, and my thing, like the finale of my film, like the conversation between Kat and Jim at the very, very end.
Yep.
That's kind of, I guess, what I wanted. Like I like the idea of just sort of like love becoming hate. Like just that, those two things becoming the same thing. Like that's kind of, I guess, maybe what the idea is, and kind of everything in the film kind of, in a roundabout way just comes to that point in the end. That's what I think is the sort of subtext. And there's also this subtext also of kind of like the people who are well-adjusted and have like sort of a nice kind of pleasant life, having that destroyed, and then people kind of having shitty lives, finding themselves, and it's kind of this Revenge of the Nerds kind of situation. Those are the two kind of things that I'm trying to, I guess, say with the sadness. But I mean, at the end of the day, like, come on, let's be serious. It's really about like a lot of the gore and the fun too. Because I wanted to make a movie that, I said this last night at the Q&A. I was like, I just want to have lots of the good stuff. Like I want to have lots of stuff that horror fans are like, come on, where is this stuff? Where is it these days? Like I wanted to just kind of make a movie that I like.
Yeah, and actually part of what I was, I guess, kind of alluding to a little bit too is the fact that I think mainstream cinema is kind of too afraid now to take that next step to put the greatness or what a lot of us that are horror fans, is we want that horror, and I think everybody's being restrained, and there's
You
this
play
new
it
level
safe
of
too
it.
much.
Yeah.
There's also a tendency with like sort of like gorier movies to kind of play it as a punchline and to kind of try to make it a, because I guess the idea is that you want your audience to like walk out of the theater feeling kind of like chipper, and then it's like, oh, I feel good, therefore I saw a good movie. But if they walk out kind of feeling a little bit like, you know, confused or sort of upset, then maybe they won't like it. Because you know, I guess there's what do you call it? They don't like the people. They don't trust the audience enough to kind of work through a complex emotion and kind of be like, oh, that was a kind of a powerful film, you know?
Yeah.
And maybe they're right. Maybe audiences aren't sort of
Kind of don't want that anymore. It's
Yeah,
like now
yeah,
he's
yeah.
like, no, we're in this state of just perpetual meh, as we like to say.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't know. All you can do is just follow your heart and kind of just make something that you feel is like right, you know, and honest. And I think that it was, I think Brian De Palma said that like you should handle violence like you know, showing violence as graphic and horrible is like actually the only responsible way to show it, because violence is actually the
It's
worst.
true,
It's
yeah.
actually the worst thing, you know, in the world, like
Yeah.
that we're capable of. Like malice is probably the worst thing conceivable, really, in a broad sense. So it's like, I don't know. That's another thing. I just really didn't want to play like the violence as a joke ever in the sadness. There are jokes in the sadness, but usually the violence is like, oh, this is serious, and someone's actually being hurt in this.
Yeah.
And that's my. It seems like it's so funny because it's like, you know, why are you being so gratuitous? And it's like, I'm not. I'm like the Rock punching a guy in the face and you know, the guy falling out the window and exploding onto a car, like that's gratuitous, you know. But like showing something like as being absolutely horrifying is actually, in my mind, more responsible. So
Cool.
So you've got to show this film in person to a few festivals. Have
yeah.
you gotten the crowd reaction you were looking for? I'm assuming you sat in with the crowds most of the time.
yeah, every time really.
Yeah.
I mean, we went to Locarno, we went to Fantasia, went to Fantastic Fest. We went to L'Étrange in Paris and Motel X in Lisbon. And next week I'm going to go to Austin for Fantastic Fest, and there's a couple others down the road too. I'm going to go to Sitges in Barcelona.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's going to be sweet. And yeah, but I mean, everybody reacts a little differently. I found the Portuguese audience to be like really laughy. Like
Really?
they kind of were taking it almost like an old Peter Jackson film.
Yeah.
You know what's a really good indicator is like they all cracked up at the sort of the drop at the finale when the line is given
Yeah.
to show to show who he really is. No spoiler. But they all just completely cracked up. Meanwhile, this audience was totally silent. Like this audience like took it to heart, and I was
Yeah.
like, "Ooh, that's a good one." So Calgary was a good audience because I like it when people take that line seriously. But if they laugh, that's also good too. You know, you can take it in a. I've just seen different audiences take it in different ways, you know, and it's kind of interesting just to see different people. I'm really excited to see what the Spanish audience thinks, because I've heard that they're a really sophisticated horror audience.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and they like actually like sort of golf clap applaud at gore gags and stuff. So I'm stoked to sort of see that situation.
Yeah, it's like
Golf clap applaud.
Yeah.
Nice.
Like bravo, you know.
Yeah. Bravo,
Nicely
bravo.
played.
And they clap like this.
Yeah. No one can see you. It's not a video podcast.
I know, but they can interpret. See, I'm doing this, everybody.
He's doing that,
He's
everyone.
tapping his fingers.
So the sadness,
Yes, sir.
not the usual name for a zombie film.
Right.
So, kind of where did that sort of come from? And is it sort of sad that the sadness brought me so much joy?
No. To answer the second part of your question first, no.
Okay, good.
But originally, like there was this idea of I had this idea of like people being in this hospital, and people being scared and crying, but like the sort of the presupposition early on in the movie that's established is that like, oh, if when you get the disease you start crying profusely, and then people are crying, and it's like she's infected, like a little girl, like she's
Yeah.
infected, kill her. It's like, no, that's my daughter, and that this is what kind of the origin of the
Yeah.
idea. And I was like, oh, and we could call it the sadness. Like that's kind of snappy and cool. And then I started to come up. Then I started to kind of think that, oh, this whole idea of like zombies are zombies are kind of easy to deal with, and they're kind of sort of tepid now because they don't have any accountability. You can't really blame them for anything.
Yeah.
But if we make them so that you can blame them and they're actually like cognizant and thinking and they remember everything, that's way scarier. Like, and if the intention and the malice is there, then it's like super scary, right? So we kind of went with that, and then we started shooting, and we tried to do the crying thing, like we tried to put like sort of boogery kind of like Cujo eyes like on people, and we tried to like do sort of that sometimes, but we forgot to do it sometimes too, and I was just like, am I going to do that with post? Like, I don't want to, because what am I going to do? Who cares? Let's just keep going. Like, so maybe that whole aspect of the sadness, like kind of a very sort of deliberate, heavy framing of like the crying thing being up front and center, kind of went to the wayside, but I still like the title. And then as we finished the film, and I made the ending the way that I made it, because in fact, the original script, the ending was different. It was a lot more, it was more of like a, I don't even want to get into it because it's sort of it's not as good.
It's not there anymore either.
It's not there anymore. So what's the point? Maybe one day I'll say it. It's also, it's not even a good story. It's just boring. But anyways, when I wrote the ending and I saw the Regina Lay give the performance, and she nailed it. She totally nailed it. Like, and she's not even an experienced actress, but I thought she just did a great job. When I was watching like in a Video Village when we were doing the film, I was so proud of her. But anyways, after we did the that scene, I was like, okay, we can probably still call it The Sadness, because like that, it's just named after the finale, you know? And that's kind of, I guess, what I'm sticking to. But I think it's also just funny enough to tell that like I forgot what I was doing while I was making the movie.
But actually, you know what? It is very subtle throughout the film, but it sometimes could be sweat. But you do sometimes see that droplets come down on certain people.
Yeah.
So I kind of actually like the fact, like it kind of links it, in my opinion. It's like it gives it more layers, I think. So yeah, well done.
There's enough like sort of insert close-up shots where you see like a tear coming down, where it's kind of like, okay, like that's a tear. That's sad. That's the sad. Maybe that's what
the sadness.
Maybe that's what this fucking guy means, you know? So.
Well, it's always good to keep them guessing, right? Like there's nothing absolutely worse, in my opinion, than a film that's made that they spell every single thing out for you. I mean, I've got a brain, and it's fairly huge, as most people realize.
It's really not.
It's super huge. It's the only huge thing I have on my body, just so everybody knows. And so, you know, those films that are so cookie cutter and spells everything out, I don't like those films. So, in my opinion, your ending was perfect. By the way, it was
thanks.
absolutely perfect.
Yeah, I'm really proud of the ending. Like, and it's, you know. A lot of people, I found this a lot in France. They sort of called me out for the doctor's scene being like too didactic, like too much just like a guy sort of mansplaining to like this girl, and like to me, all that stuff that he says is like interesting. So like it's kind of like, and it kind of gives like a broader sense of kind of what it all means and stuff. But I guess people just kind of, a lot of people go into the sadness, and they see the train scene, and they're just disappointed that it never kind of reaches that intensity like after that.
Again, it's like
So I mean, like I look at that and I'm like, you know, fuck. I mean, if enough people are saying that, I guess it's my problem, you know. But like at the same time, when I watch the film, it's like, no, that's kind of how I want it to be. But I don't know. I guess at the end of the day, like, you know, I extend a hand and the audience extends a hand, and wherever it meets in the middle is where it's successful, right? And right now, like I feel like the audience is having to extend a little too far for that scene there. So maybe, I know you didn't ask me, but if I could ever change something about the film, maybe I'd cut that part down a little bit.
I don't know. It kind of keeps a universe. It actually creates now a universe that can change.
Yeah, but maybe it could be handled a little less sort of just like, okay, now we're going to stop the film for like about 8 minutes and just have this guy explain everything. You know? Yeah.
Like kind of in like a Rocky Horror Picture Show where the dude comes in at the library all the time.
I can't even remember that movie.
Oh, it's like they'll have like a narrator comes in and sort of says, and this is where Brad and
Guy in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
Would explain things.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Now it's kind of coming back to me a bit.
Nice. Okay, so we kind of know you probably get asked this in every single interview, but sort of, you know, but we don't want to ask you that, which is why Taipei?
Right.
Well, wait a second. Not everybody was like at the Q&A, and not everybody knows about Rob, so perhaps we should ask why Taipei.
Well, Rob, do you want to answer that question, or do you think people should go read more about you?
Read up
online?
on you.
Yeah, I mean, like the fact of the matter is, like I've answered that like
Every
almost
question.
every
Million
time,
times.
Yeah.
and it's just like, you know, it's not even that interesting. It's just like I was just there, and then there's this whole thing of like
Stuff happens.
Yeah,
Stuff
yeah.
happened.
That's what the
Like-
opportunities were.
life finds a way, you know.
All right.
Yeah.
Jeff Goldblum-ism, insert here. Okay, so are you going to come back to Canada? Is your plan to stay there now? Like, have you built a life?
Oh, yeah,
everything
absolutely.
you want to stay and
Well-
continue to do film there?
No,
And
like I'll do films anywhere where anyone wants me to do films. I like I like Taiwan because it's very it's just very cost effective. Like you can really get a lot of bang for your buck in terms of film production. And there's lots of great technical people there. There's lots of like amazing locations and it's just a great and it's just a great place to shoot films. And I don't plan on. I want to make one more movie that's sort of in Taipei and sort of about Taipei, but then after that, I think it's time for me to kind of, you know, spread my wings and move on, because I don't think I'm going to be staying there for like maybe more than 5 years or so, just because it's starting to become a little bit like hectic, like in terms of you know what.
yeah, Big Brother
Yeah, exactly.
/ Sister Sash.
Yeah. So
Big,
it's just kind of uncomfortable, and I'm just kind of trying to get my ducks in a row to have like sort of a little bit of an escape pod, an escape plan, you know.
I like that how you threw the word pod in there,
Yep.
just to pump us up, you know.
Yeah. What? Oh, podcast. Got it.
Bam!
Got it.
It happens.
You're so clever, Jim.
I know. I'm the dude. Okay, so we had to go back and watch your back catalog. And your animation work, very original, very graphic, very creative. And for an old dude who's like comes from like early Bakshi,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like seeing some influences. For me personally, as I was watching, I was going, man, this is like if Bakshi just went way too far.
You're talking about Great Dana.
Yes,
Yeah, yeah.
absolutely. That's what I'm talking about, Great
Okay.
Dana. So, where did your influences come for your animation side of what you do? And, you know, what is some of the great animated features
Good question.
of the past that you think, you know, have sort of influenced you and that you
Yeah.
aspire to if you want to stay in the animation world?
Yeah. Well, I mean, like animation is like kind of where I get all the storytelling kind of sensibilities and stuff like that. That's all, because you have to like really think about those things, because you can't just shoot a bunch of stuff and then cut it together, because like you can't just animate a bunch of stuff and then take pieces of it, because it's all a lot of time, very work intensive. So where does the influence come for Great Dana? One day I was just I used to smoke like a lot of weed, like a lot more than I do now. And one day I just like started like cracking myself up about just some woman named Great Dana, like Great
Like
Dane.
Great Dane,
yeah.
like the dog. Yeah.
And then she'd just be like this muscle woman. And then I just put like pencil to paper and I started drawing this picture. And I basically drew like the exact Great Dana that you see in the cartoon. And I was like, wow, that really came out easy, you know? And then I just started to think about, you know, I just done this animation called Fiendish Funnies, which actually does appear in The Sadness at one point on the TV.
Yes. I love that,
was
by
awesome.
the way. So was that you?
Yeah, I made that.
That was fucking great,
Thanks.
man. It was awesome.
But then, so I had just done that, and I was all, and I had actually won this little bullshit award in Taipei for it, for like a jury award or something. So I was all, it got to my head, and I was just like, I know what I'll do. I'll be an animator. So I made these Great Dana cartoons, and I mean, I don't really know. Like it's so funny. Like when you're kind of like on a roll, I don't even know where the ideas come from. Like they just come, and you there's no shortage. They're just coming and coming, and it all fits together, and you're just like, wow, this is great. And it's like, damn, like, you know, I don't think I'll ever run out of ideas for Great Dane. You know what? If somebody, I've tried to sell that Great Dane. I made like a deck, like a pitch deck for Great Dana for like, it's huge. It's like 50 pages long, and it's like it's got maps in it and all kinds of characters and like arcs and everything else. And I've tried to pitch it through a couple of people who are somebodies. I've met a few people kind of along the way, especially like last year with Clearwater and stuff. I had a little bit of attention. People are like,
Yep.
hey, who the fuck are you? And I gave them Great Dana to try to sell. And I think that it's just a little bit like on its face, it sort of seems too like sexually political or something. Like, and people are kind of like, well, so who made this? Oh, okay, it's not a woman. Okay, well maybe this is not the right thing. You know what I mean? Like there's so much connection between like the work and who's making the work, and sort of whose story is it to tell kind of situation. I kind of understand that to some degree, but it's just a shame because that I could be like Great Dana could be like my South Park. Like I could just express myself like till the end of my life just through Great Dana. But as far as like really good animated features are concerned, like I mean,
there isn't a lot. Really,
there are lots
guys.
in Japan. I mean,
yeah.
you're gonna have to go to Japan for that. I saw one called The Red Turtle like a little while ago. That was a French production that was released by Studio Ghibli, and I thought that was the last really kind of powerful animated feature that I'd seen.
Yeah.
I really like the Gantz Zero, the CG animated Gantz movie. It's like just fucking sick. And then, and that's also like the side. It's just set pieces, just set piece after set piece, and just like cool monsters and just all the good stuff, And because we already know the Gantz story from like the original series, right?
Yeah.
I think that although like the old 90s Berserk anime is awesome. I do like the 3 features that they made. I thought they did a really good job, but those are not even that new. Those are like from like 2010 or 2012 or something. But I don't know. You know what else is something that I like and I watched recently is the Beowulf animated thing.
Yeah.
I think that's good. I think that's kind of like a really cool. It's like written by Neil Gaiman and like directed by Robert Zemeckis and stuff.
Okay.
And it's kind of awesome. And people are always like the animation doesn't hold up, and it's like yeah, it does. What are you talking about? It's like it's awesome. What are you talking about? I mean, it's not supposed to look like it's not supposed to look real. Maybe that's what people are talking about. The animation doesn't hold up. It doesn't look real. It's like, yeah, it's not supposed to. It's supposed to look like animation.
Supposed to look animation.
Right. Anyways, those are the best I can think of. I mean, I got lots of, if I mention Berserk, then that's really all I need to say. Like, I think that's probably my favorite sort of animated piece, like in culture, and worldwide.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow, but you know what? It kind of gives a little bit of taste as to, like, for those who are listening that haven't seen The Great Dana, hopefully they go back and check it out.
Oh yeah, no,
and then can see how that and where you were in your space at that time, because it was like what 7 years ago or something. Was it that long ago?
Couldn't have been that long ago. Maybe it was. Maybe it was like maybe like 2015 or 2017 or something.
It was a while ago though, right? So you've evolved since then, but you can see the influences in that in your feature, right? So
yeah, like I just have really liked. I guess I'm just a spicy boy, I just like to sort of be provocative, and I like to mix like sex and violence and stuff,
and
kind
rock
of
and roll.
Sex, violence, and rock and roll. Actually, yeah, there's the sadness, I guess, is kind of like a metal movie, but it doesn't have metal until the very end.
Yeah.
Although I guess there are swells of like sort of guitar feedback and stuff sometimes, because my
it feels metal.
Yeah, my composer is like me. We kind of became good pals. Tsichar. Ming from Tsichar is like a huge metalhead, but he doesn't make metal. He makes like pop, like sort of how do you say that? Like rave electronic sort of music, but he, he's never done a soundtrack before either. But he made this soundtrack that was like really metal. But anyways, yeah, back to the thing. Yeah, like the sex and violence thing. Whenever I design a monster, I always try to make it look like a dick or a pussy, and
true.
That's just true. I just find that like that's just a really good way to go, Like there's something
sex sells, baby.
Alien about our own bodies.
Yeah, in Great Dana, you even had the one dude's nose looked exactly like a penis.
Yeah. I always draw noses that way. I think my nose kind of looks like that. My nose looks like a tip of a dick.
It kind of does a little bit. It's not circumcised, everybody, just so you know.
Yep.
So this is a bit of a follow-up question, because it's very obvious that you love horror, and in particular graphic horror. First off, let's talk about your relationship with your mother. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
So where did that come from? Where did the seeds get planted for who Rob Jabbaz is now, as to where you've come from and how you got to where you are? So where did your passion for gore and apparently sex and drugs is
sex
rock
and
and roll.
violence. Well, first of all, I'll say that I adore my mother. She's a lovely lady. She's worked very hard to raise me as best as she can, you know. And Mom, I love you. But anyways,
Your mom's an avid listener to our podcast,
yeah,
by the way.
she actually has this. She has this T-shirt.
T-shirt.
She's gonna go wild. when I
This
give her
one might
T-shirt.
fit her, right?
She might. Let me think for a second. Oh yeah, so I was talking about this the other day that I think that like gore is like it. So like you know how like CG gore doesn't like work very well. Like it for some reason there's just not that. It's almost. Does anyone here smoke cigarettes?
I used to.
Okay,
years
so
ago.
you know how when you smoke a cigarette and then you kind of get that thing, that sort of pull or like I don't know how to describe
Back, like that back suck if you're biking. If someone passes you, it's like sucks you out.
something like that.
Yeah.
But you can the best way to talk about it is like if you smoke like a clove cigarette, you're kind of just like what the fuck? Where is it? You know, where's that thing that I smoke for? That's kind of the analogy that I use for like gore when it's done with CG is that it doesn't have that. It doesn't have whatever that friggin' that thing is. That thing that I don't know how to describe. That je ne sais quoi.
I like to call it blood orgy, which actually, thank you for putting that in the film, by the way.
Oh, no problem. But I think that what it boils down to is the audience knowing that a mess was made, and someone had to clean that up. I think that's. I actually think that's what it boils down to, and I think it boils down to. So really, what it boils down to is like making a mess, and it's kind of like when you think about like just a mess, it affects people in a really like deep way. Like for example, my girlfriend, like she can't even like if there's a movie where like someone walks into like a bathroom in like New York City and the bathroom's got like shit all over the walls and everything, she can't even watch it. Like she has to leave the room because it's just something like she can watch gore, she can watch violence, all that stuff, but when it comes to just a mess, she just can't do it. And I'm like, what the hell? Like what's going on in her brain? You know, what's happening there? You know, and then also like there's porn where like girls will get like slime dumped all over them, or like spaghetti and like meat sauce or whatever, or bukkake or whatever. Like just bukkake's a little different because it's jizz, but like, but I'm talking about just sort of like if you remove the sexual aspect of it, and it's just mess. It's just like I don't know, chocolate pudding or just the like Jello wrestling or just this idea of just messy people just covered in mess, you know. There are some people who like think that's the hottest shit in the world. Like that the same neuron that's firing that makes my girlfriend run out of the room when there's like a messy bathroom must be connected to that same collection of neurons that makes people get a fucking boner over a pile of like spaghetti and meatballs being dumped over a girl's tits, right? And then for me, it's the same thing with gore. Like when I watch Dead Alive, or Brain Dead, depending on what part of the world you're in. Like
Dead Alive here.
Yeah. The just like the messiness of it is, for some reason, it's just like my eyes start to water, and I don't even know how to describe it. Like it's just.
Is it the sadness? Is that how you describe it?
No. I know how I describe it. I describe it as actually a fetish. I think I think it slots into some sort of fetishistic aspect.
A fetish,
Yeah. So
that's okay.
Oh no, I mean, there's nothing wrong with having like we fetishize stuff all the time, you know. Like every day you're probably fetishizing like at least like 5 things, you know.
I'm fetishizing right now, by the way.
Yeah, Jesus.
That's a pretty
Stop looking at me.
Pretty low over under on that one.
That nose of yours is actually just doing a lot for me right now. It's too bad it's covered.
Yeah, gross. Anyways, yeah. So that's the way that I sort of resolve that. I think that it's. And then okay, so if we kind of go a little further with that,
man, we're all here for you.
Yeah, but if we go a little further with that, it's kind of like, you know, you don't choose what you like, you just like what you like. Like for example, you don't choose that you like pickles or not.
Mm-hmm.
You just like them, and we just kind of are just drawn. And sometimes we're lucky enough to have the opportunity to pursue the stuff that interests us and we like most. And then if we can sort of identify it very clearly, then we can kind of make the most of it.
That's right.
Yeah. So that's it.
So from a horror perspective, though, if you go back, because you've even listed off a couple directors that we know you're getting some buzz from, who would you say, if you had to say, this is the director I want? Like, I mean, being Canadians, and I don't want to speak for all of us, but we're pretty big Cronenberg fans.
Yeah, I mean, he's kind of the best. Like, he's kind of the best like horror director, I think.
Yeah.
And I think not only director but like sort of storyteller, like in a holistic sense, like writer director. I think he's just the best. And my favorite director actually is William Friedkin.
Oh, dude,
but
The
I-
Exorcist.
No, but like I actually like his crime stuff more. Like I like The French Connection and To Live and Die in L.A. I think
Yeah.
is like a really underrated movie. But I just like how ballsy he is, and just sort of when you hear him talk about making movies, how he's just like a fucking insane fucking psychopath who just will push and push and push, and he'll keep pushing until there's some pushback, and then he'll be diplomatic, and then he'll keep
Yeah.
pushing. And that's not. You don't want to put your actors in danger. You don't want to put anyone in danger, and you don't want to hurt anybody. But at the same time, I just fucking love how he does that. You know, I just love how he just does that sometimes, and he seems just kind of like the guy who's just like totally, like just savagely goal oriented. Like I just have so much respect for that. And the same when he made like Sorcerer is a lot like Fitzcarraldo, like the Werner Herzog movie, because it's just like this. It's basically just them actually performing a bunch of feats in this like hostile kind of jungle, and then filming it all, and then sort of, but you know, it's got a little. I would argue that it has a little more of like a story than Fitzcarraldo does. Although the feat in Fitzcarraldo is probably a greater feat. But anyways, you understand what I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
just sort of
Yeah.
this very that appeals, I guess, to sort of the like the masculine sort of like side of me. You know, like just sort of this macho kind of like filmmaking as sort of an expression of being a macho dude, and
Yeah.
like just making these big like I'm gonna fucking do this, and this is gonna be my movie, and this is an achievement, and like that shit just fucking makes me really hyped, you know. And I wish that one day, and maybe that's also the thing too with like doing stuff on set, and actually doing this stuff on set, as opposed to just sort of doing it all in animation. That maybe that's sort of how I'm trying to be like that or something.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
All
Yeah.
right. So, the sadness seems to be getting a lot of buzz outside of Taiwan. I
Yeah.
mean, Rue Morgue called it the most violent and depraved zombie movie ever made.
Ever made, not one of
Not
the most.
one,
Yeah.
the most.
The most.
But
Yeah.
we've also heard that maybe it's not getting that same level of hype in Taiwan. Why do you think that
You know,
is?
I honestly have thought about that like a lot, and I think it has a lot to do with just under marketing, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think that, and also maybe just sort of a like a misguided kind of marketing, because I think what they tried to do was what they did do is they just kind of released it cold in Taiwan, just like here's a horror movie, and then they spent like less than the minimum amount of money that it would take to, you know, make everybody in the island kind of at least
Aware.
acknowledge the movie, right? And then next thing you know, and then there was also sort of COVID related stuff too. But I feel like that's not a good excuse, you know. At that time of the pandemic, like it really wasn't. I don't buy it, you know. But anyways, like that's really it, you know. Like the best way to have done it, in my opinion, would have been to do all this first, go to all these festivals, like get all this attention. I mean, I won a couple awards.
Yep.
God willing, I'll win maybe a couple more.
Yep.
Golf clap. Yes, thank you.
Yes.
Um,
Look good on the poster.
yeah, and hell yeah. Winner of the Golden Intestine at Gore Fest or whatever.
Nice.
Yeah.
Then take it back to Taiwan, you know, and it's kind of like, okay,
Yeah.
we're coming home, you know, but like we're bringing it home, baby.
Yeah.
Daddy's
That
home.
that would have been the way to do it. And then also like based on sort of the buzz of the film, I think that there would have been, you know, other like people who would want to come in on the, you know, like sort of cross marketing and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I think that's just the way it would have. That's just a no-brainer, you know. But like I wasn't in charge of marketing, and I was kind of like, "Are you sure this is right, guys?" And they were just like, "Trust us, we know how to do this." And I was just like, "Okay."
All right.
And then sure enough, it failed just as. And there was another thing too where like they actually started a real problem by stealing this Taiwanese YouTuber's like tagline, because they were trying to do this, you know.
Tie it to it somehow, so it became popular.
Well-
People just linked to it, sort of.
Yeah, like it's basically piggybacking off of like a YouTuber's success, and it's just this really.
That's
like,
what you want from your movie.
No, it's just like this boomer kind of attempt at like viral marketing. Like
Yeah.
this totally like clueless boomer attempt at viral marketing, and it was just
Yeah.
like, it was just like, what the fuck are you guys doing? And then it turns into this thing where the YouTuber turns around and is like, look at these fucking guys, you know, like they're like, I'm just a simple YouTuber here, and this movie is fucking
Total
stealing my shit.
backfire.
And then it caused, like, you know, he started calling for like a boycott if they didn't pay him for like this stuff,
God.
and it was just like,
Jeez.
it was just such a disaster, and I was just like,
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thanks a lot for that, guys. Thanks also for running it by us too, because
Yeah.
they just did it without even asking, and then they just walk away with the budget, and they're just like, okay, thanks, you know. Like,
Type of thing you would have wanted
I guess-
nothing to do with.
I guess you just made kind of a shitty movie, Rob. That's why it didn't do well. You know, we did our best, you know, and it's just like, what the fuck? So, you know, and you know, and I'm being, I don't even care about being diplomatic about that. I think they fucked up, and I think they need to know that, you know.
Yeah.
But
They also listen to our podcast.
yeah. What's up? What's up, guys? at iFilm. Anyways, yep. So that's my explanation. I think also maybe some people could make the argument that Taiwanese people, you know, with air quotes, don't like that kind of film. But I mean,
Who doesn't?
I mean, you like nobody knows what they like. You just like what.
Wow,
what
there's an audience for everything in every country. There's
yeah.
yeah.
there's going to be people that don't like it and people that do like
People
it, no matter
just-
where you go.
People just like the thing that's the hot thing. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, you just have to frame it the right way. Don't tell me that, oh yeah, people don't like that, you know? I mean, in terms of like, that does make sense in some markets, but I think that with film, and you know, specifically horror, like there are people who want a horror film, and it's just like, and you're right, you know, you just have to identify the market. You have to find the cool people. You have to get the cool people to say that it's good, and then
Yep.
and then the lame people
Then
will
the
follow
sheep
the cool
will
people.
follow.
Exactly. That's
That's right.
exactly it.
Yeah.
Well, we like it, and we're pretty cool. So
Well,
Thank you.
there you go. You know, if you're telling people you're cool, you're probably not. Anyways,
I think they know that I am. I'm just reminding them.
tell us about working with practical effects. How fun was it, or conversely, how frustrating was it?
Well, I think it's awesome because,
Yeah.
like the aforementioned sort of.
By the way,
mess
thank
factor.
you. Practical effects is the only way to go.
Well, I think it's just about like the right tool. Like if you saw Clearwater, for example,
Which we did.
that for me, like doing sort of sub microscopic imagery, kind of has to be done that way. You know, it's just the right.
But
tool.
when it comes to gore,
that's exactly the point. Like, it doesn't. You have to do that if you want it to look painful, and if you want it to look like, if you want that thing, if you want that drag in the cigarette, like
Yeah.
you need to have it done practically. Like, I've seen maybe in my whole life, I've seen only maybe a couple pieces of digital effects used for gore that have worked very effectively. One of them is like Irreversible, when the guy gets smashed with the fire extinguisher. A nod in the sadness as well. But that's maybe the only one that I thought was just really upsetting. Like it got that factor, that gore orgy factor or blood orgy factor that you were saying before.
Yes, thank you.
But I mean, working with practical effects is kind of the crew kind of, I guess, kept trying to tell me how much of a pain in the ass it was, because like, maybe if the blood doesn't work one way, then we have to reset and we have to clean up, and it wastes all this time. And at the end of the day, time is like
Time is money.
that euphemism is no more like, how do you say that, like true than when you're doing a movie. Like you come in the morning at 6:00 and you just start shoveling dollar bills into a furnace, right?
They're all getting paid,
Exactly.
Yeah.
whether they're working or not.
Yep. And so like practical effects is kind of like, oh, it's better if we do this like digital, right? And I'm just like, we can't. Like that's the movie. Like it has to be like this. And then essentially my sort of plan was just, I actually mentioned it in the Q&A, like you just do all the gore scenes. Here's the let me put it this way. Here's the thing that was kind of fucking everybody up, is that they kept sort of having this sort of preconceived idea that we were going to do like multiple gore scenes like in one sort of cut.
yeah.
And it's like, let's just not do that. Let's just do them one at a time. We'll do each one as an insert. We'll do it close up so we don't have to worry about the environment. And we'll just kind of have like the, let's say, for example, that when the guy bites the guy's Achilles tendon on the subway, right? So it's like regular guy's leg, he bites it, cut. Then we apply like we apply the
gush?
No, we're going to go to the end next, right?
Oh, okay.
And we're just going to have like the open wound and blood spraying out, right? And then so the blood's spraying out on his face, and he's just chewing in it and like putting his tongue in it. And then like we go over to the next thing, cut.
Yeah.
Then we do an insert of like the actual tearing and and then we can do that a couple times. And sure, it'll take a little bit of time to kind of clean everything up if we have to do 2, but it's a lot better than trying to do it all in one thing, right? So just use. Hey, guess what? Editing is part of cinema, you know. Like just
like practical effects.
yeah, just use editing to make the fucking thing come together. You know, that's like the simple magic of filmmaking. Everybody keeps thinking they want it to be like that fucking The Revenant or something, where it's just like a million things happening all at once. And it's like to me that's actually like I've always thought that doesn't feel like cinematic to me. You know, like that just takes me completely out of the movie. It feels like it's almost like you're watching some guy fucking just jerking off, you know. It's just, well, look at me showing off, you know.
Yeah.
But I mean,
just too much.
having something cut together, because you're thinking about it.
It feels natural though, like as we're watching it.
Yeah,
As a viewer, you're not going, oh yeah, look, he did a clip there, and you could tell that this there. Like it was so pieced well together
Right.
in editing, by the way,
Yeah.
that it looks so natural.
Yeah, well, you're talking about the sadness, not the
Yes,
Revenant.
of course.
Yeah, okay.
Of course, we're more focused on that.
Right. Yeah. Just with those kinds of long shots where a bunch of things are happening all in one shot. I've never liked those. I've always thought that they're just it takes the viewer's mind off of the film, off of the subject matter, and all of a sudden they're thinking of it from a technical angle, you know.
Little bit of visual masturbation.
Yeah. That's exactly
go.
what it is. Exactly.
You never get enough masturbation. Just saying.
Yeah. I just I don't know. That's something that I've always thought. Whatever. That's it.
You did it well, man. So you
Thanks.
should be happy for that.
Thank you.
So you talked about Clearwater,
Uh-huh.
which we've also seen, by the way. First off, I loved it. If you look on IMDb, and it's interesting because in North America, you know, IMDb is kind of our go-to for everything. So whether it's true or not, you just kind of have to guess. But it said that it was a budget of like $5,000, and I'm saying to myself, okay, could not have been $5,000.
It was probably less. It was probably like 3,000 actually.
What?
Really?
Yeah.
Because it's freaking awesome.
Yeah, but it's so funny. Like all you need is a little know-how, a little time, and a fairly decent computer. And if you know how to do it, you can just do all those special. You save so much money doing your special effects all yourself. I did all the special effects for like the sadness myself.
Yeah.
Me and this other guy from LA. I just paid a guy to kind of just help me if I needed any help.
Yeah.
So I mean, the budget for the sadness is like clean up, VFX, paint over, like all digital work was like $10,000.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Is
I mean,
it just cheaper there? Is that
no,
why? Or?
no. The guy who did it was.
He wasn't from there. He was from L.A.
Yeah, the guy who
Oh.
did it was from LA. His name's Logan Sprangers. He's check him
okay.
out on Instagram, everybody. He's a great kind of unsung VFX kind of guy.
Okay.
I hope he gets more work. He works, but I hope that he becomes more famous and
Makes
gets
more money.
Exactly. But I did the most. That's the reason is not because shit's cheaper. The reason is because I did it all, and then I got this guy to just sort of be my helper, and
Okay.
that's it. If you can do this stuff yourself, you save a lot of money. That's the same reason why like the Skyland movies like look so good, but sort of don't feel that good. You know?
Yeah. Well, okay. So are you going to go back to that film? Because I think there's a really good feature that you could easily push to Clearwater.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. Like that's the actually what's on the plate next.
Nice.
For me.
Nice.
I want to really expand on that kind of mythology, and I got some ideas. I figured out, like, you figure out sort of the mechanics, but you have to think of like what are you saying, like what's this about, you know, quote unquote. What's going on?
He's just showing the time.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because remember, you're like, I
Oh,
got
yeah.
eating to do.
Well, we can. I'm having fun. We can go to like 12:15
Your
or
lunch
so,
date can
or whenever you want to cut.
wait. Because
whenever
you're
you-
worth the wait. Is that what you're going to tell them?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Of course.
I want to be, you know, I got to be like, you can't just be there on time, you know? Like, I'll look like such a
No.
loser.
Exactly.
You know? Like, I'm here.
It's cool to be
Do
late.
you know
Only
who I am?
losers show up
Where-
on
Do you
time.
know
Where are
who
the
I am?
Where are the canapes? But I was going to say that, where are the eclairs? I was going to say that you have to think of the subtext, like what are you saying with the film? And I realized that it can be about like the fear of children, like the fear of having kids, and then it'll be kind of about birth, and
Yeah.
this will be kind of the ideas that it all kind of touches on. I have this whole story that I've been writing. It's been tough doing all this festival stuff, but I think that this story is going to be cool, and it will have the same emphasis upon practical effects as the sadness does, but it also will have hopefully more of an emphasis on like an equal emphasis on CG as well, because I think that the right tool for the right job, you know, like I think that I really want to try to please, you know, kind of like old guys like you, like old practical effects dudes like you, with CG, like finally the guy who did it right.
Someone knows how to do this.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
That's kind of like that's the goal, to sort of make people like change their mind about it or something, because I think that there's a lot of power to CG, and it just sucks that sort of
it's always bad.
It's
now.
always just, and even the guys who do it, like you should see the stuff that, like the best guys, the stuff that they post on Instagram, like their hobby stuff is so cool, but then the stuff they get hired to do is just like, it's just like building destruction, or like vehicle stuff, or like really boring stuff. And because a lot of the times what these directors will do is they'll just go on Google Images and they'll just put together a style board. So it's all based on stuff that's already there. Like there's not any
creativity.
Yeah, exactly. There's not any like true creativity coming from the actual like artist. So I'm trying to like address that, I guess, with this Clearwater project. I really hope that I can get it off the ground, and it really all depends on how well the sadness sort of performs, like ultimately.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. Well, and that's kind of like even just your journey right now, which you kind of maybe have alluded to, but as you're taking this trip you're doing now with the festivals, it's like you're not making money, like unless they're paying you to be here, which I don't know if that's the case, but it's like you're running on this advertising.
The festival paid for me
to come, but here's a check, here's a $10,000 check, thanks for coming.
Oh, I mean, I'm still on salary. Like
I'm
still kind of like I'm a company team player, you know. Like
nice.
I'm doing my thing. Like I love Jeffrey Huang. He made the whole thing happen, you know, and like he has. He just took a risk on some fucking wild ass idea, and just some weird ass motherfucker like me, and was just just opened up his wallet and was like, let's give it a shot. You know, I'm okay with losing this if we don't make it back. That's fine. Let's just see how it goes. We'll call it a learning experience if it doesn't work, right? But and this whole thing, this whole me going around and like talking with people, and showing up on YouTube and like wearing these fucking glasses and shit. So
nice.
people can recognize me in the thumbnail. Like, it's all just to kind of drum up kind of attention for the film, and hopefully, like when the movie actually has the wide release, people will just be ravenous for it, you know.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the idea. So I mean, we put a little bit of money into this. You know what I'm saying? Like, put a little bit of money into the shit, into the me flying around and kind of doing all this stuff, and showing up and promoting the film and showing enthusiasm for the film. Like it actually does go a long way, like with sort of festivals and stuff.
Well, yeah, because people are like, we see you, we know you're here. And how does he feel about it? Like, is he like, oh my God, I'm so glad this is your vision is now my vision? Is he like,
he's like the kind of boss who like never compliments you. Like he's always just like, he'll always just be he's kind of like the farmer in the movie Babe, where he's just kind of like, that'll do.
That'll do, pig.
Yeah, that'll do, pig. That's what he actually said to me. That'll do, little piggy. Run along.
Nice.
But that's kind of his stance. But then like meanwhile, like I'll hear his friends being like, yeah, Jeff said the fucking sadness is really taking off, and I'll be like, haha. Like he's happy with it. It's funny like how like that's kind of, it's funny how like a good sort of maybe not a good boss, but just sort of like an effective boss can kind of just make you're just so like desperate just to kind of like get sort of what do you call that, like you know what I'm saying, like
the level above, that'll do, pig.
Yeah yeah that'd be so sweet. But
if he petted me once, I'd be so happy.
Exactly. if he gave me an extra bucket of slops. But I think that there's no question that he's like happy with sort of how it's being received and how the international horror community is really liking it. It's a shame. Like, I mean, the sadness is just a little too extreme for there to be like a crossover hit, kind of like trying to Busan it or whatever.
Yeah.
But whatever. It's. I think that also gives it like how do you say that? Like integrity.
Yeah.
You know, it's like because
Yeah.
it's kind of it's not pandering. It's just like we're doing this and fuck you. Like it's kind of punk in a way.
Yep.
So you know, at least we have that.
Yeah. And you have right here, right now, in Calgary. So have you been to Calgary before?
No.
Is this your first time?
Yes.
So when you obviously grew up in Ontario,
Mhm.
and did you spend a lot of time, traveling around anywhere else, or were you one of those people? Like I grew up in Ontario as well.
Right.
But did you get to see anything else? And now that the festival's out, you're actually seeing all over the world.
Yeah,
So
that's-
were you a traveler, or did you?
No. That's basically it. Like I'm like in my like late 30s, kind of like going to Europe for the first time and like going to, well, I guess just Europe is all I've been to, and then like I just moved to. I've been everywhere in Asia, but I did that all in like sort of my mid 20s, But yeah, like as a kid, I was pretty just like I was just at home watching horror movies, Because
Getting stoned.
yeah, and getting so stoned. And the thing too is you have to be a fan before you can sort of make a movie. It's just like how you have to read a lot of books before you can write. So I think that everybody who's a director, if they're not a fan, then I don't know why they're even doing it,
Yeah, it would seem almost counterintuitive, right? To be like I'm making a super awesome horror gore fest,
Right.
blood orgy, if you would,
Sure.
and you don't even appreciate that genre, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's not so much about appreciating it. It's just kind of like understanding the language and understanding, like, there's a certain language, not just to gore and horror, but also just to movies in general. And it's like you have to know how it all works. Because it's all like engine parts and stuff, and understanding how it all works. Not to say that I really that I totally understand it, but I think I have a pretty good handle on like a lot of it. And I mean, you have to be a fan first. I think I'm immovable on that, So.
All right. So, getting back to the music a little bit, how did you meet your composer, and were you like a fan of what he'd done before, or did you have 5 or 6 people you were looking at, or?
No, like I just was looking around on SoundCloud for like someone to do the music.
Yeah.
And I just blindly found Tsuchar.
Yeah.
And they're from Singapore, but they lived in Australia. And I just sent them like a message on SoundCloud, and I was just like, "Hey, I'm doing a movie. Do you guys want to do it?" And the music that they did was like, it was just like K-pop remixes and stuff. Like, but it was like kind of dark and weird, and there was a lot of variety in it, and I could just tell these 2 people are. There's just so much. How do you say that? There's so much range in what they can do, and I just sort of looking through the catalog, it just kind of was like, I bet they could fucking do this really well,
Yeah.
And they had some mixes that were a little more experimental, and I was just like, I think that if I get along with them, I think that these guys would be a good fit, and sure enough, we started talking, and we ended up really getting along, like just sort of, how it is when you sort of just like get on like with someone who's like, it's like they like all the same stuff you do and stuff.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what went down with Tsuchar and Ming from Tsuchar and his girl Sarah, who there's sort of like vocals in some of the soundtrack of The Sadness, and she does those. She's more of like the vocalist, and he does everything else. And actually, they did the song at the end of The Sadness, like not the heavy metal song, but that sort of weird kind of like
Oh yeah.
ballad
Yeah.
sort of thing. Man, that was such an awesome song. They just gave that to me. They were just kind of like, "Hey, we made this. Do you think you could use this?" And I was just like, "Fuck yeah."
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. Just put it at the end. But I mean, like, just sort of long story short, it was just like a leap of faith, We just kind of, I just said, okay, well, you guys are on board. Let's just try to do it, No, just like me, like no one, I'd never done a feature before. Cinematographer has never been a DOP before. He's only just been camera crew. Everybody, it's all their first time doing it. But I think that I just picked a lot of people who are just kind of like, always kind of had it in them.
Yeah.
And it just kind of, went off. In my opinion, it went off really well, Like
Right on.
Everyone was just able to kind of express themselves like kind of creatively, like without a lot of limitation, and do something that they felt proud of, and it all came together,
And the music, it's funny because the music, I think the music in a film can make or break a film.
I think it's 51% of a film.
Yeah, an atmosphere like maybe to your comment earlier, it's like a metal film. It felt like and this is maybe not the best analogy, but we have a professional lacrosse team here in Calgary, and they're called the Roughnecks. And when you go to a Roughnecks game, it's like it starts with just it's metal all the way through the games, and it starts at kind of this low pace, and by the end of the game it's like the music is blaring, and it's just like you cannot help but get up and scream and pump your hands and go, oh my god, I love this.
Yeah.
It's the music and sound in this film completely do that. You're so ingrained in what's happening because the music and sound just bring you to that place that I think you're trying to get us to.
You know, it's funny you say that because I got the idea. I mean, it was Ming who makes everything, but I guess it's me kind of signing off, or he gives me like 2 things or 3 things, and I say let's go with this one or whatever. But the thing that I kind of signed off on, like, you know, as soon as I got it, was when he came with this Chinese instrument called the suona, and it's kind of like almost like a Chinese clarinet, and it's that sound that's like that kind of sound, and they use that it's like they use that at like funerals a lot, and they use that also like at you know, like on if it's like some god's birthday or whatever, because like gods have birthdays apparently sometimes. But the thing that I think of every time that I hear that instrument is maybe it's not the same thing, but it's a similar instrument. It's the time I went to Thailand and I went to watch kickboxing, and they just play that, like when the guys are fighting, they just play this like the whole time, and it's just like violence. It's just like, okay, everyone's just going insane and we're just kicking the fucking shit out of each other. You know, these 2 guys are gonna fucking try to kill each other. You know, and it's like that's just yeah. So like I was, when I heard he was using that, and he was kind of using it that same way, that kind of like dissonant kind of, just like it sounds just like a fucking crazy person. I was like, that we need to use that, because I think that like just, you know, historically that sound is just, I mean, it's kind of like if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You know, like that sound has been used for like probably centuries just to drive people insane, to kick the shit out of each other. So like maybe there's something just sort of intrinsically violent about it or something. So the suona was like a big fucking revelation. Like when he brought that in as sort of like the instrument that would kind of represent kind of like the virus, or represent kind of the mania of the virus. I thought that was great. So that's it.
Well done. Well done. We're just keeping mindful of your time.
No, it's okay.
But
102, I can see it on your clock there.
Yeah, I'm going to list that. Murray, I'm sure Murray might have some kind of technical question. Murray is actually our producer and technical arms of the podcast.
/ film industry person, but yeah. No, it was really great. I loved everything about it. You said the budget was fairly like small though, so you obviously were able to get away with doing a lot of things yourself. I guess maybe I'll ask about maybe the distribution, because obviously your plan is to eventually get it distributed in North American markets and make money off of it. But but so is he still pursuing that, or do you have any offers?
That's I mean, absolutely. Like we you know, we're getting, the reason why it's taking so long is because you know, there's like bidding, like warring happening on it. Like it's competitive at this point, which is awesome.
Nice.
The Raven Banner we sold the rights to Raven Banner.
Yeah, Raven Banner is awesome.
Yeah, they're great. And they're like, regardless of their titles, like the people who work there, I think are just really good to work with, very transparent, and also I think kind of like sort of filmmaker oriented, you know, like I think that there's a lot of guys on the partners who actually run the fucking the company are like filmmakers themselves, so they kind of you know, they're cool dudes, and I like them. And they've definitely their idea to kind of take this film. Well, first of all, they took the film to like the Bernal at the what do you call it? Call it the European Film Market, EFM, right?
Yep.
And they started showing it to some people, and then based on sort of the reactions they were getting, they were just like, let's stop showing it to anybody. and then they were like, let's just not show this to anybody. Rob, okay, listen. We're just gonna like keep this on ice until like late summer, and then we're gonna do all the festivals, and we're gonna cut like a really sick trailer. We're gonna cut a new poster. We're gonna put sort of ads in the right places and sort of get it in front of the right eyes, and then just try to create this crazy buzz for this movie.
Unleash it.
Yeah, and then and sure enough, like it totally worked, and we're their sort of marketing strategy, basically
What to do in marketing as opposed to what you were experiencing before.
their marketing strategy was like based on the precept that like the film is good. You know what I mean? So like it's like we have something here that's kind of like lightning in a bottle in a way. In the way that it's lightning in a bottle, and they just kind of believed in it and they marketed it accordingly, and I think they did a great job. And I think that as far as release is concerned, you're gonna see that soon. It's just kind of like slow on the rollout. You know, we got to draw up the paperwork. But I will say that we definitely have been, you know, we've definitely moved into sort of the beginnings of closing a few big deals, and where everybody's very happy with sort of how it's looking and excited and everything. So, you know, in the early, probably early 2022, we're going to see like the sadness show up on your TV somewhere on the old.
We can buy physical
On
media.
demand.
Sure. I'll put together a real nice special edition too. I got all kinds of storyboards. Well, no, not director's cut.
We saw the director's
blood.
cut.
Yeah, the director's cut is what you saw pretty much. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, director's cut.
Exactly.
Well, there you go.
With,
So is there
with an added 2 seconds.
with an added 2 seconds that no one else got to see? So okay, is there anything that we haven't asked you that you kind of want to share with our listeners and the SIF audience and, you know, people around the world? Other than go see the movie because it's fucking awesome.
Yeah, thanks. No, I don't think so. I'm just trying to think.
We've covered it.
Yeah, I think that I'm just trying to think if there's any like really good like films or filmmakers that I want to kind of shout out, but I just can't, I don't know. Like I just been so busy that I haven't really seen any. I'm going to see Titane for the first time tonight. I almost saw it in
Nice.
Paris.
Yeah,
but
we're going to be there. It's going to be awesome.
yeah, I almost went to go see it in Paris because it's just playing in regular theaters there. But they didn't have subtitles, and I was like, should I just go see this?
Probably could have still enjoyed it, I'm sure. But
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I've heard that it's pretty dialogue. Like it's a lot more
Oh,
dialogue
okay.
heavy than
Okay.
you
Might be.
would expect. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, I know I'm gonna love that. I think that woman is like a maestro level kind of savant, like when it comes to filmmaking. I'm actually jealous of her, like in a bad way. Like I'm actually like fuck,
I
God,
hate you,
fucking damn it.
but I
Yeah,
love
exactly.
you.
Yeah, exactly. She's because she's like charismatic and like gorgeous and like so good
it's
at
not
filmmaking.
fair.
Yeah, exactly. Meanwhile, I'm this homely ass motherfucker, like trying to put together a gore movie with like, you know. But anyways, yeah. But like, I mean, I think that when it comes to sort of making a film, like I can imagine what it must be like working with her on a set, like, you know, she's going up to her actors or whatever, and just kind of like talking with them, and as an actor, you so want to impress her, like you just want to give her like everything you got and stuff, and like being that kind of person as a director is like the kind of person that you want to be. You want to be this like person that you want to please, you know, and I think that's probably. I mean, this is all speculation, but that's probably the kind of situation it is on her set, you know.
Yeah.
But I have, man, she just like Raw is so fucking good. I remember I saw that way late. I saw that like last year because I thought I had already seen it because I thought it was that movie about that woman who eats her own skin, like from 2002, and then later I confused it with the Rabid remake. I was like, I already saw Raw. Fuck Raw. Yeah, fuck Raw. That movie sucks. So then,
No,
Then
no,
she-
it doesn't.
then someone told me like, dude, are you kidding me? Like, and I was like, okay, and I watched it and I was like, oh, I haven't seen this at all. This is awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm looking forward to that tonight. I
And
guess
it-
I'll see you boys there.
Yeah,
Well.
for sure. You, I know you're a huge Cronenberg fan, so we've now become big fans of Baby Cronenberg. So I'm not sure if you've seen any of Brandon's.
I saw
stuff.
Possessor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was really accomplished, but I don't think that maybe he was trying to do something that I just didn't get, but I didn't think that the gore was right for that kind of movie, like that part where like he's like pushing out his eyeball with the stick or whatever
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
Like I was just like, why is this in this movie? You know, like this doesn't make any sense to me. Maybe it's trying to say something about like glorifying violence. I didn't get it. I just didn't understand it. But like, there's lots of things to love about Possessor, and that's actually the only film I've seen. He had that other one called like Antiviral or whatever. I just never saw that.
Yeah,
Maybe I'll go ahead and see it.
Yeah, it's worth checking out.
Sure.
Yeah, for sure. Well, why don't you tell everybody where they can find you on social media and online and stuff?
I'm literally the only guy on earth who's named Rob Jabbaz. So just like Google my name and add me on Instagram. Instagram is probably where I'm the most active. And that's pretty much it. On Twitter. I'm Jabbaz Rob because for some reason I can't do Rob Jabbaz on Twitter. I think maybe I tried to have Twitter like a while ago and then I just forgot the password. So it's actually me who's keeping me from it.
Being you.
It's me keeping me from being me.
I love
That's
it.
so sad.
Yeah, it sucks. But in any case, Instagram's kind of where I'm at, and probably like after I'm back in Taiwan, I'll start like hawking some NFTs. So get on the fucking NFT game, everybody, and this boy's going places. You're gonna own some original artwork from your boy Rob Jabbaz.
Nice.
Yeah, posters are great.
Yeah.
Well, I'll thank our Ragers for listening. Find us, Film Rage, on social media at Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at Film Rage YYC. Check out everything Film Rage at filmrageyyc.com. Please comment, like, and subscribe, and send us an email to filmragecalgary@gmail.com. That's it for this special Verbal Masturbation episode being held at SIF Calgary, where you can find out everything of the festival at SIF, CIFF, Calgary, and if you don't know how to spell it, look it up, .com. Until...
.ca.
Yeah, .ca. No,
Is it?
sifcalgary.ca.
There you go.
Newsletter.
Oh, there's also that. Okay, well, it's not .com, so they're only
At SIF
.ca.
Calgary.
And until next
So
time...
professional.
Exactly. Until next time, rage on.
Rage on.
Bye, guys.